What's up guys, it's time for the tough one. I wasn't actually planning on making this video, but I've had too many people ask me, is it worth upgrading from an iPhone 7 or 7 Plus if you literally just bought it about a year ago to the new iPhone 8 or 8 Plus? Is the price justifiable? Is the upgrade justifiable? I mean, what's the difference between these guys? And it's not much. I'm gonna be honest with you, it is not a significant difference. I mean, if you have the money, it's definitely worth the upgrade, but if some people are just really on edge here, like, is it worth it? Is it not? In this video, I'll help you make that decision, but right off the bat, I'm just gonna say it's not a very significant upgrade. Going from the 6S to the 7 was a much bigger update than this, and if you have an iPhone 6S, then yes, it is worth the upgrade to the iPhone 8, but from the 7, personally, I say no. But let's get into all that finer print and see what the actual difference between these guys is. Now, like the iPhone 10 versus iPhone 8 and 8 Plus comparison I made, I'd like to start with the similarities. What's the same? What did Apple recycle from the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus and sell to you at a markup? So first off is Touch ID. Both of these guys still do have the second generation Touch ID, which is honestly perfectly adequate. There's nothing I would need added to it, and it's great. You know, over the iPhone 10, having that sensor is pretty awesome, but it is still the same speed, same fingerprint sensor. On the front cameras are still same spec. Now, I'm not saying it's the same camera. It might be different, and until they tear down the phone and look inside, we don't know, but currently the specs are the same aperture at 2.2, same 7 megapixel sensor. Really, on paper, the front camera has not changed. Also disappointingly is the IP67 water resistance rating remains. Unfortunately, Apple did not upgrade that. They definitely upgraded their marketing though. They were like, oh, it's precision engineered to the micron to be water resistant, yet it still falls behind the competition, which is already all at IP68 right now. So unfortunately, that's the same as well. And the RAM spec remains the same as well. 3 gigabytes for the 7 Plus and 3 for the 8 Plus. Same for the iPhone 7 and 8, it remains at 2 gigabytes. Now, this is supposed, so it was found leaked in the GM code, but I do trust that information. Also, it's unknown if it's a different type of RAM, but the actual spec remains the same. Now, the battery life hasn't changed either. It has remained exactly the same on spec, so you're not getting any more additional hours for video, talk, audio playback, nothing like that. Although, don't discount the new battery phase. You're getting a battery with 0 cycles on it. Yours may have degraded in the time you've owned it for a year, so technically the battery life might be getting better, but against a brand new iPhone 7 or 7 Plus, the 8 and 8 Plus did not improve. And that's not to say that the battery might not have gotten smaller or bigger, because we don't know that until they actually tear the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus apart and look inside. We don't know that. It's just the actual spec remains the same. Still no headphone jack anywhere to be found, so if you're hoping that Apple would realize the mistakes of their ways and add one back, they didn't. The adapter still comes in the box, and the displays will be identical aside from one feature, and that's True Tone. I'll get into that in just a second. Physically, it's unknown again if they have changed, but most likely, as all of these specs remain on paper, exactly the same. Now, what's different? There's actually quite a bit. It's not very significant, but there is a lot of stuff. So the glass design, I mean, you pick this thing up, it's gonna feel different right away. The back isn't as smooth as it is with glass. You know, your fingers are gonna be getting stuck on here. You're gonna get a lot more fingerprints on it versus the matte aluminum shell of the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. And that's a convenience factor that's hard to put a price on. If you don't really care if you're gonna use a case, then that's nothing, but having to always wipe off fingerprints off of your phone kind of sucks. The glass does have a 50% deeper strengthening layer according to Apple, and it is the toughest smartphone glass on a phone right now. If you had issues with breaking, dropping your display, this thing is supposed to take care of that, and we'll definitely have to see how that does in a drop test. No word on scratches though, how scratch resistant it is. It's just against drops and stress like that. And of course, because of the new glass design, you're gonna get wireless charging support via the Qi standard. That means a variety of charging pads that you can pick up on Amazon, anywhere really, will work with the iPhone. And that's awesome. A lot of people did think that this technology would be proprietary if Apple were to release it. So it's definitely good that they made that open. And this is both a positive and a negative. You get fast charging on the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, but you have to buy an expensive adapter, a charging block, just to make that happen. Out of the box, you won't be able to. So just to get fast charging, you'll have to spend at least $50 right away on one of Apple's own adapters. I'm sure in the future there will be third-party ones, but don't really count that in as a feature. You have to pay extra for it. So that's an extra $50 just to enjoy that feature. And as far as colors go, you will get that new gold color. It looks fantastic. fantastic. I gotta say, that's one of my favorite. If I were to get the 8 Plus, that's the color I would go for. You do get a silver and space gray as well, but you do lose several colors in the process: black, jet black, and rose gold, as well as product red. But even the 7 and 7 Plus don't have that anymore. It has been discontinued. And if your weight or the thickness of your phone has ever bothered you, the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus will be getting both thicker and heavier. Both will be getting 0.2 millimeters thicker, and I know that's laughable. That's not really much of a change, but the weight is getting a significant boost. For the iPhone 8, 10 grams, and for the iPhone 8 Plus, 14 grams over the 7 Plus. Significance probably due to the glass, and probably one of the most important to me is the loudspeaker. Honestly, sometimes you're just watching some YouTube videos, some video content on your phone, and the speakers aren't loud enough. On the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, they will be getting 25% louder with a little bit better bass uniformity. So I'm excited to try that out in real life. But speakers, if they're important to you, that's one big aspect for me of the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, although most people just use headphones, like normal people. And you get a true tone display on the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. So that means like night shift, but a little bit more natural. It actually uses sensors to make the display change in both intensity and color temperature based on your ambience and your environment. And it's a nice thing to have, although not all too different from night shift. And the rear cameras. So the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus do share the exact same megapixel count and aperture count as the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. So where are the changes? Apple says the pixel sizes themselves for the sensors are larger, so you're going to get a little bit more quality in through that. Also, the video capabilities, because of the Apple A11 Bionic engine, are going to be improved as well. 4K 60 frames per second and 1080p at 240 frames per second slow motion. So definitely nothing to laugh at. If you are a videographer, you like to get that perfect quality out of your phone, you're definitely going to be able to do more of that with the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus. I honestly haven't filmed on my iPhone in a while, but even from the 7 and 7 Plus, it was quite incredible the kind of quality you could get if you actually used a gimbal and tried to get some quality out of it. But this one I'm sure will do even better, and I'm excited to try that out. On the iPhone 8 Plus, the portrait mode, the standard portrait mode, will be getting an improvement, so you'll get a little bit more bokeh out of that, better quality, better clarity, and you'll be getting a new mode called the portrait lighting mode, which you can adjust the lighting as if you were in a studio. Really cool if you've seen the demo of it. Now, this is the biggest change between the iPhone 8 series and the 7 series, and that would be the CPU and GPU performance. Even though they didn't have to upgrade this, it shares it with the iPhone 10, which is several $100s more expensive. Now, the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus were extremely fast, beating out all Android competitors with its speed in the real world test, and they didn't need to upgrade it, yet they did. They made it 25% faster for the faster cores in the CPU and 70% faster for the lower end ones that handle the background tasks, stuff to keep the energy draw low. Now, the GPU is the first one in-house from Apple, 30% faster than the existing one in the A10, and all around, the Geekbench scores, oh my goodness, have mercy on all the Android phones that this thing is going to be crushing. You get a 10,000 plus multi-core score and over 4,000 single core score. That is just ridiculous, truly ridiculous. So the performance is a huge step up, even though personally I have never needed so much speed on my iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. I haven't done tasks that it required it or it got bottlenecked ever. The iPhone 7 and 7 Plus were plenty fast for me, but if you ever reach the limit of your phone, the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus will certainly extend that limit. And Bluetooth. Most people don't think about the Bluetooth standard in their phones, but the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus has the new Bluetooth 5.0 support over 4.2 on this one. Now, what can you do with it? Right now, not much. Maybe a few months down the road, half a year down the road, there will be more products that support the standard. But say those products existed right now. What could you do with Bluetooth 5.0 that you can't with 4.2? You get a longer range. Imagine leaving your phone while you're playing basketball at the gym on the floor. Personally, that's what I do. Sometimes you run out of range. You can get more range. You can transmit more data over that range, and it's more energy efficient. So right now, there are no products that take advantage of this, but in the future, it could be a game changer for the iPhone. Even Apple's new AirPods don't take advantage of Bluetooth 5.0. They're still on 4.2 currently. And pricing. I'm going to do a little throwback here to give you a perspective, but the iPhone 8 Plus is $30 more expensive than when the iPhone 7 Plus launched last year. And same thing for the iPhone 8, but with a bigger difference. It's $50 more expensive than the iPhone 7 when it originally launched. So you're paying a premium now as well, but of course, inflation between that year accounts for a few dollars in between. What are you paying for? It really doesn't seem to me like the price is justifiable over last year's model. That thing had so many upgrades over the 6S compared to this year, but Still, wireless charging is nothing to laugh at. 4K 60 frames per second and the improved slow motion, better speakers, the true tone display. There's a considerable amount of stuff, better durability, but is it worth it to you? That's the question. Do those things matter to you? To me, not really, not in this model anyways. I'd personally rather spend a couple $100 extra and go all the way than this step in between the iPhone 7 and the iPhone 10. All right, guys, there it is, my comparison between the iPhone 7 and iPhone 8 series. I'm actually very curious. Do you guys think that the upgrade is worth it if you currently have one of these devices? Are you going to do it? Leave me a comment down below in the description, because online generally the consensus is that no, it's not a very big upgrade or a significant one at all. It's more of an S upgrade than an 8 or 7 to 8 upgrade. So let me know down below in the description. Very curious to hear that from you guys. Anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Hope I made that decision a little bit easier. Peace.